KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Oh my. Stereo howling, we're available.
Yes, we are available for all parties, bar mitzvahs, events.
Well, I hope everyone survived the ice apocalypse of Houston of
Ice apocalypse?
2014. It was such a non-event again. But, we've got a beautiful day today, which is great because, you know what? We've got a garage sale going on at my office at 741 East 11th Street. Just kind of remind our listeners that we're doing a fundraiser for a friend of ours who was robbed, lost $25,000 in cash, and we're trying to make him whole again. So I'd love for someone who's listening out there who's running the garage sale to call us in and let us know how it's going. They've been out there since 6:30 this morning.
Wow.
Good night.
I wasn't there at
Wow.
6:30, by the way.
Yes, I was still in bed trying to get over this cold I've got. But yes, no, it's a great event. Get out there if you want to get some great stuff and support a great individual and family. Go out there. Again, what's that address, Rob?
It's 741 East 11th Street. It's in the Heights. It's basically at Studewood and 11th Street. Now, Kay Weatherly with Pods donated a pod. We filled that pod up. It was full by Wednesday. So Mike Huff, our owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Anderson Properties, was nice enough to allow us to put stuff inside the office. So I'm sure he's going to be happy to see all that stuff go. And I told him it'd all be gone by Monday. A lot of people did a lot of work. We were out picking up furniture yesterday. I think Liam Helms, who is the recipient of this, did probably 3 or 4 truckloads yesterday.
That is awesome.
Stuff,
Well, it's a great cause, and they're a great family and a great individual.
And more importantly, those who come out, the Rat Pack's going to show up over there after the show.
Yes, that is
Rat
correct.
Pack
We will
will
be
be
there
on
live,
site.
On
site.
Yeah, on site. So,
Live!
And
and in person.
and in person, but we don't have our individual following us around saying Joe is in the studio, or
Where can we get that guy? We
need
should have
him.
got him to come on out, too.
we definitely have to. But we got a great show planned today. One of the things we're going to be talking about is a couple of items. Number one, we're going to be talking about major repairs associated with your property, mainly
What to be aware of major
foundation
repair.
and roofing. And then on top of that, a lot of times if you're going through
How to survive
foundation,
it.
how to survive it through a
How to
relationship.
survive it.
It's an amazing show today, amazing. So all those listening, you want to stay tuned. We have some really good stuff coming up. We're going to start off with, the basis of all homes, foundation.
Foundations. And I ran it, I've got John down
I
here with
thought it was going to be the big screen. But
Permapeer. I ran into him at HAR of all places, and we were talking about, we've been wanting to get somebody to talk about foundations. That's probably one of the most misunderstood items in the house. It's one of the biggest houses. Welcome, John.
Well, good morning.
I'm so glad to have you here. And you and I talked about a lot of technical stuff about foundations, and I'm a former home builder, so I kind of have a working knowledge, but certainly not to the extent that you have knowledge. So we want to dispel myths about foundations and things like that. And I know a lot of times people will come out, have you come out and have you look at a house, and they get really surprised. So tell me what some of the big surprises are for people out there.
Well, first and foremost, the biggest kind of issue we have in the industry is that there's no licensing, no certifications, anything like that in order to go
Sweet.
do this.
I'm going into business tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you very well could.
And he could.
Go get you
Joe's
a couple.
Foundation Repair. I'll be up on Facebook. Just look me
That's
up.
right. You're just going to pick
There
up
you
truck
go.
and sign.
Get after
I'm kidding.
So,
Well,
but
that-
you have extensive knowledge, because like I said, you and I spoke for a long
Right.
time. You have extensive knowledge about the technical aspects of foundations, and maybe even talk about the different kinds of foundations you see in Houston.
I was about to say, maybe start off with the different types of foundations there are, pier and
Didn't I-
beam, et cetera, et cetera.
Didn't I just
Right.
say that?
Yes.
Hard clay.
Well,
I
I mean,
thought we were talking about the
Typically
ground.
speaking, we see what's your average slab-on-grade foundation. Means there's a trenched-out formed, basically mold in the soil that the builder makes. Then they fill it with rebar or post-tension cables, whatever their choosing may be, and pour concrete on top of it, and away you go, build your house. You also have the pier and beam homes. That's typically speaking an older style home. However, there are some new builders out there that are building some pretty fancy new pier and beams.
In Bel Air, quite a bit, and West U also.
Yep, exactly. We've actually done a little bit of work on some of those. Not a whole lot, just sort of some improvements, not necessarily repair, quote unquote. There are some coastal type homes that are down over towards the bay, but that's not really what we see in the Houston Metroplex. It's more so.
So I'm thinking of. Let's talk about post-tension slab. I think that is probably for production builders. That's probably the dominant player. Is
absolutely
post-tension. Kind of talking
about
it has
what
been
for a little while, right?
Oh yeah, for a number of years, and for a long time, engineers were saying, don't do post-tension. But I understand that the methods have improved substantially, and post-tension actually does work. And kind of talk how it does work. Tell them how.
Well, yeah, the idea of putting a rebar in concrete is in order to give it a bone structure, if you will. The cool thing about post-tension is you can go and put that post-tension cable in there. Not only do you give it a bone, kind of like a bone structure, something for that concrete to form to and adhere to, but you also provide a kind of like a tensile force around the perimeter, basically holding it together almost. The cool thing about post-tension cables is they're a little more forgiving than the rebar cables, the rebar type systems. When we go to repair them, we don't see as many new cracks in the slab. We don't see when we go to raise them, that is. They're just a little more effective. They're efficient, rather.
Well, I guess the thing is, because we have in a lot of areas of Houston, especially south of the bayou, is that we have alluvial soil, which is a gumbo, which is a clay, and it's very expansive. And when you put rebar, which is reinforcing steel, it makes it very rigid. And it really doesn't have tensile strength at all.
No, it does not.
And the cable does allow a little bit of flexibility and things like that. That's what
right.
you're saying. So when you're going out and you're taking a look at some of these slabs and you see some failures or maybe it needs adjustment, what are probably the number one things that you see out there?
Well, and once again, that's a hard question to answer just because there's so much.
I like to ask the hard questions.
I was going to ask what your favorite color was.
Well, that being said.
Repeating joke now.
Probably the most common failure I see is going to be, it's all moisture related. Either you have too little or too much. Very rarely do we ever run into a poorly constructed foundation. Now, we do on occasion, but once again, that's a rarity.
What's the number one thing that you see that was done incorrectly that causes failure or something not to perform properly?
It's going to be a lot control, irrigation control, moisture control, having real large trees or a lot of foliage that's concentrated in one area that draws a lot of moisture out of the soil. See, a foundation problem is not necessarily a structural problem. It's a geological problem that produces a structural ramification. If the soil moves, then the home's going to move with it.
And that's interesting, because one of the things we hear a lot is, during the summer when it gets really hot here in Houston, to look at your foundation and make sure you have enough moisture going around it, because I guess what can end up happening is that soil dries out. That's what causes that weight sometimes. Soil moves out from underneath the pad. It can crack, break, move, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, yes and no. What basically happens is as the soils here retain moisture. That's that clay. That's why you can go out in the yard and scoop up a handful of clay and just about make an ashtray out of it. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah.
It's true. I'm going to do that this afternoon, actually.
Well, basically, that soil retaining that moisture. Whenever soils do that, they expand. Right, they gain in volume.
Right.
When they lose that moisture, they contract, and they're basically losing volume. So a lot of that, that excess, that variable moisture content in that soil, causing it to expand and contract, is what causes the movement. When we lose moisture, we lose volume. That house will start to drop, one side or another.
So when we had that drought, how was your phone ringing off the wall?
It was insane.
It's interesting because that's what I'd heard from everybody in the foundation business, that drought came, people weren't keeping their slabs moist, and all of a sudden people started seeing, I don't really worry a whole lot about those cracks that go straight up and down along the drywall lines. It's those horizontal or those jagged cracks that occur in the wall and stuff like that. That's when I start getting alarmed.
Now we are talking about foundation, right?
Yes.
Okay, good deal.
Well, those are signs of movement. You start seeing cracks going across doorways, going over, above window casings, things of that nature. It's just a sign that something's moved.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I remember walking to a client's house one time, and he said, "Well, I don't know of any foundation problem. I'm looking about an 8-foot diagonal crack across the wall, and sheetrock was separated apart." And I go, you might kind of rethink that is that you are having some movement issues, and the house will tell you when something's going on.
And what are acceptable norms? I mean, one of the things that we see a lot is you see an inspector go out there, an appraiser, and say, I think you need to get a structural engineer out there and take a look. What are the acceptable norms? And you might or might not know this, I'm not sure, as far as movement that are acceptable within ranges of traditional foundation. I mean, I know they usually go out there and they'll go do these measurements and they'll put these little diodes in each corner and measure it and says, okay, it's within 0.001% of movement. It's absolutely within the normal. Is there anything that, like industry standard out there, or is everything sort of home specific?
It's more so home specific. I mean, industry standard basically states that over a 10-foot span, you cannot have more than 1.2 inches of fall, which is a 1% grade. Now, that being said, a 1.2-inch fall over 10 feet is pretty aggressive. It's a loose standard.
Right.
So let's just, to make the math easy, if you had a 30-foot wall, you couldn't have any more than 3.6 inches worth of fall from one side to the other. Now, that being said, slope and deflection are two completely different things. You can be on an even plane and be sloped from top to bottom and still remain basically in a straight line. Once we deviate from that straight line, let's say you're straight on one end, and in the middle of the slab it takes a dive off, and then you're however many inches out of level. Well, that's at that point considered deflection, and that's where we have an issue. Basically summing that up, even planes keep framing, keep all their structural components that help hold the house in place and upright. As long as those are in line, you're typically speaking okay. Once we start deviating from that even plane, geometry becomes our worst enemy at that point. We start seeing framing moving in places we don't want to see it move to. That's where we have that structural concern.
Yeah. And I always believe in preventative things, and of course, one of the biggest mistakes I think that people make is they'll go out and put these nice Fatinias, ligustrums, put it within 2 foot of their house. I don't know that everybody knows that ligustrum is really a tree
right.
disguised as a shrub.
As a shrub, yep.
And so, what do you talk when you go out there and you see stuff like this? I mean, what do you tell people? It's like,
well, for one, I've learned through painful experience, never tell anybody to move a plant. That's you're asking for a black eye at minimum.
Yeah.
If looks could kill, at least. Basically the best thing you can do is keep that foliage hydrated, especially in the summer times. Like a big old giant live oak tree, I mean, that's liable to drink 100 gallons of water a day. And making sure that tree is, I mean, you're not going to be able to help it 100%. But
and my understanding of oak trees, especially, is that the roots will follow the umbrella of the tree, and it will go into your slab and it will get moisture from somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, trees aren't stupid; they know where to go. No, but basically that canopy, that root system is going to extend that canopy in a half. So.
And I was talking about this with someone yesterday who has a house in the River Oaks area, and they removed a big oak tree. Of course, first of all, your big oak tree gets taking moisture out, but also if there's already a root system in there and you take out a big tree,
right,
you're going to have a lot of void underneath your slab and stuff. So how do you address that stuff? Because those big trunks dissolve, and all of a sudden you've got, tunnels.
Well, I mean, honest to goodness, I haven't run into any real big issues with leaving roots underneath your home. We run into them all the time. There's usually enough load support on either side of that root to really not make that big of a difference. Heck, we dig tunnels underneath houses all the time.
So when talking with your company and maybe other companies, and what would you like people to know that would distinguish your company and how you deal with them?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, honesty is our biggest key. I mean, like the first thing I said on the show this morning was that you don't need any kind of certification, licensing, education. I mean, any Joe can go out there and go try and start their foundation repair company.
Joe's Foundation Repair on Facebook tomorrow.
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't make that connection before I said it. No, but anybody can go out and start their foundation repair company. And the problem with that is we've been inundated with all these guys who are basically salesmen. I'm not going to go try and pick and choose. No,
we're not trying to pick on
it. No. But I can't tell you how many times, and I'm no longer an estimator, but in my time as an estimator, I'd walk in and somebody say, well, you need 12 piers or 50 piers or 100 piers at $10,000, $100,000, whatever it may be. I mean, I've walked in a home where somebody said, I've got $90,000 worth of foundation work, and I said, no, you need about $6,000, and it needs to cover this corner. You don't need to go raise the whole structure.
Yeah, I always appreciate that, especially when I'm doing an inspection like that. So how can we get a hold of you?
Well, I mean, you can visit us online. It's www.permapier.com. And I'm sure y'all will probably throw some kind of link on the internet or something, right?
Absolutely.
We definitely will.
Either that or you can give us a call. Our office number is going to be 713-849-9993.
That is Permapeer. That is John Dowdy.
Yep.
You know what? We're coming up against the break right now. In fact, we're past our break right now, so stay tuned and we'll be
Mike's
right back.
Mike's blowing things up.
Oh.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we are back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. Remember, you can always call us at 800-808-5548 if you want to ask any of our great guests any questions. And speaking of call-ins, we actually have a couple. First and foremost, we have Liam, who we were speaking with at the very top of the hour. Liam, how you doing, bud?
Hey, how we doing?
What's
Great.
going on, brother?
Hey, I was told, I just got back from getting another load of stuff for our garage sale we're having down here at Berkshire Hathaway here in the Heights. And I just came down from Spring, and I was grabbed by somebody and said, hey, they're hoping for a call-in, so I just jumped on the phone. There's a lot of people out here. We've had a lot of stuff sold, but I just got back here with another load. I had 3 beds on this load that I just picked up from my house up in Spring.
Very nice.
So people who came early just completely missed those because they weren't here yet.
Oh,
So
wow.
so those people who haven't come down yet, there's 2 couches. You got a chance to see those 2 couches, Rob. They're really nice.
Oh, cool.
I mean, they're really nice couches. We got 3 beds here. I got an exercise bike. I got some nice stuff today. I got an entire white wicker bedroom set.
Yeah, that's that stuff I helped you load last night, wasn't it?
That's the stuff that you helped me load last night, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your help, Rob.
Absolutely. You'll get a bill. Don't worry.
Somehow, I'm not surprised.
Well, I'm glad it's going well. And everyone showed up. I know Gina was there. She called me at 6:30 this morning and saying, where is everybody? And I'm going,
Yeah, I was late. I got here at 6:35, so...
so. And
Gina's on it.
What a perfect day for it, too.
It is. I mean, it started off cold, but it's actually starting to warm up and get pretty comfortable out here. So
Yep.
this is all right.
Well, I am so tickled, and as soon as the show's over, the Rat Pack's going to show up over there. So be prepared. We're coming.
I will be here, and I assume I'll get the bill when you get here, right?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. So, well, Liam, thanks so much for calling in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and you all have a great day, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy. We'll see you in a little while.
So,
Well-
I'm glad it's going well over there. But now let's get on back to the. We are doing a show here, so we have
a show.
we do have a
There's
show.
a show going on. Watch this. If your roof is on fire, you might want to call our next guest.
Hey, I like that. That's a great intro right there. The roof is on fire. Actually,
John would be going, no, please don't call me, actually. Call me after they put it out.
we actually have Troy with Remedy Roofing. And one thing
I
we were
said
talking
John.
about during the break is that, in order to have a very strong relationship in anything you do, and we're going to have our relationship coach here in a minute, but you have to start off with a strong foundation, and you have to be able to have a very strong roof
Yes.
in order to maintain everything. So now we have Remedy Roofing in the house. How you doing, Troy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me this morning.
Well, no problem. Pleasure being here. One of the things that we're talking
And he's
about...
got that made-for-radio voice over
He
there.
does, right? He's got that very deep, thank you very much for being here.
Can you say, Luke, I am your father?
Luke, I am your father.
Oh wow.
There we go.
So be careful, Joe. You can be replaced.
Nice.
And the reason that we have the guests we have on today, of course, is that when we're working in resales, often the 2 biggest items that can kill a deal, roof and foundation.
Yes.
And, roofs can cost a couple of dollars. I know that. So let's talk about roofs. Tell me a little bit about your company, how long y'all have been in business, and what type of roofing that you do. I know you do commercial and residential.
That's correct.
Okay. So talk about your company a little bit.
Well, Remedy Roofing has been around since January of 2005. So, we're located in Katy, Texas, with offices across the country. We help people with storm restoration, specializing in commercial and residential roofing.
So, in fact, you were, I understand, nationally recognized and rated as being one of the top roofing companies out there. We were talking about that this morning. talk a little bit about that.
Oh, that's right. Inc. 500 actually rated us as one of the fastest growing privately held companies in the U.S. This was back in 2009. We were ranked number 79 and number 2 in construction. So we're very proud of the strides we've made in the short time that we've been here.
Well, that's something to be proud of, because there's a lot of roofing companies out there. I mean, there's a lot of roofing companies right here in Houston, Texas.
Right.
Roofing is very much like foundation companies. In fact, you get a pickup truck and you can, it might be Rob's Roofing tomorrow.
Sweet.
So we're gonna have Joe's Foundation, Rob's Roofing.
But we can start referring to each other.
I'm still gonna be using Remedy Roofing, by the way. I'm just telling you guys that right
now. And I appreciate that.
But we talked this morning before the show started and stuff like that, because people always get kind of some misunderstanding about roofs, because we used to refer to it, and you gave me some new language this morning. We used to refer to it as a 25-year roof or a 30-year roof. And in Houston, Texas, being a hostile environment, rain, heat, things like that, they last 15 to 20 years, and the owners are going, wait a second, it's supposed to be a 30-year roof. Well, kind of talk about that a little bit.
Well, a 30-year roof in a vacuum. Houston's climate is really tough on composition shingles. They're an asphalt product. Previously, shingles were rated as a 30, 40, or 50-year shingle based on the thickness of the materials. However, now the industry has moved really in the direction of lifetime warranty, is how most shingles are referred to now. With GAF, who we enjoy a Master Elite status with, GAF is North America's largest manufacturer of commercial and residential roofing systems. They offer a limited lifetime warranty against any manufacturer's defects of their shingles.
Oh, and to let our listeners know out there is that, there's different, not every roof is equal. And what should somebody look for? Because I know felt can be different, nails can be different. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to a roof. Talk about the differences.
Sure. And this goes back to the fact that not all roofing companies require licenses. I mean, any Chuck in a truck or Larry in a ladder, if they've got a bundle of shingles and a hammer,
Chuck in a truck. Right. I'm stealing that.
They can call themselves a roofing company, and you'll see a lot of those types of folks show up after a storm. At Remedy Roofing, we don't take any shortcuts. We roof your home just like we do our own. We use a 30-pound felt. Some companies might use a lighter weight 15-pound. We use 1.25-inch galvanized roofing nails, an ice and water shield in all valleys and around chimneys. It's a 36-inch wide peel and stick product, very common up in the colder climates due to the heat and cold and the expansion of the material. So we don't use Valley metals. We use the Storm Guard GF product. We basically use the highest quality materials available to restore your home's roof.
Now, you
Chuck in the Truck is not a licensed sponsor of the Real Estate Rat Pack. Killed you, Rob.
Yeah, neither is Larry with a ladder.
Lost my whole train of thought. I was going to go to the when you're replacing a roof. Say you've had someone's, it's come, as I always affectionately call it, coming to the end of its economic life.
Right.
What a polite way to say that.
Do layovers and things like that. Is that still a recognized practice where they'll just lay one roof over the other roof?
We'll sometimes see overlays when we're out doing a roof replacement. It's not the best way to go about it. Some people try to cut corners or save dollars by not demoing the roof down to the decking. Now, the best way to replace a roof is to remove all the existing roofing components down to the decking so that you can inspect the decking for any rot or damage. With an overlay, you don't have the opportunity to fix the entire substrate of the roof. So we'll strip down to the decking, inspect and replace any decking that requires, and then start with the new 30-pound felt, etc., with our choice of shingles, replacing everything and sealing everything up.
And my question, would there be a big cost difference? You'll get the next question, Joe.
Not a
Would there be a big cost difference between an overlay versus stripping it down. I mean, relatively speaking, if it costs, $5,000 to put a new roof on, I mean, are you really saving 50%, or is it, $1,000 difference? And if that's the case, it's better just to strip it all down and start over, and do it as you mentioned.
Well, you're going to get the best solution if you strip it down. You'll save some money in your labor. You may, depending upon the size of the roof, you may save $1,000, $2,000 in what the insurance company may be allowing for the replacement, should it be a storm restoration insurance claim. But I do not recommend it. You have additional weight then placed on the structure, which could manifest itself in problems in cracked ceiling, sheetrock, etc. So you may save some money in the short term, but long term, you're really doing yourself a disservice.
And of course, a lot of people, like you said, are doing things where they're getting money for the insurance, and the insurance company is going to dictate as to what they're going to be able to do,
and the procedures that need to be followed in order to, fulfill your obligation to make the repairs properly for your insurance company and the mortgage holder.
Now, I'm guessing that I shouldn't wait for water stains in the ceiling to determine that I need a new roof. So I'm smart like that. So what should I look for if I'm just the average Joe?
Very good one. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Or checking the track.
Yes. What should I look for? I mean, is there some telltale signs that I can, standing on the ground, do I need to get on the roof? I mean, what should I do to determine if I'm in need of a new roof? Because I probably don't want to wait for that water stain to tell me.
No, great question. The best thing that you can do is to be proactive, and I would recommend that you keep an eye on your roof to look for any missing shingles or possible lifted shingles. When you have a storm come through, heavy wind, walk your property. Look to see if you have anything missing from the hips ridge or if any of the shingles may be lifted. Get up on your roof. Have a licensed professional get up and do an inspection annually to check to make sure that everything is sealed properly, that you don't have water that could penetrate around any flashings or vents on the roof. And then you can, prevent any damage being.
So it is advisable to get up on the roof and check it out?
Well, I wouldn't just have anybody get up on their roof. Call us at Remedy. We'll be happy to come out, take a look, and give you a thorough inspection and let you know if there's any items that need to be looked at and remedied.
Yeah, don't have the average Joe do it, or chucking a truck, or laying a ladder. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's a great time to plug Ashley Bowles, who's one of our inspectors. If you want to just get a whole home checkout, he does that as well.
That is correct.
A.B. Bowles Home Inspection.
And he actually will walk a roof, which is not every inspector walks through, but also a lot of people use binoculars. You can look for those pop nails and things like that. Those are telltale signs that something's going on. So how do we get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me at Troy at remedyroofing.com or call me direct, 832-282-2580, and I'll get right back to you.
And let me tell you how good they are, by the way, is yesterday I put a phone call into them, spoke to an individual, took all my information down. Troy called me right back and said, absolutely, I'm available for the radio show tomorrow. So, the one thing I tell everybody is, when you call them about a subject matter that had nothing to do with roofing, they called me right back. And so that is a good sign of a great company who's going to respond very well if you need something. So I tell everybody, again, Remedy Roofing, that's Troy Goldreyer.
That's correct. Thank you very much.
832-282-2580. We're up against a break right now, but we'll be right back.
Fancy gloves, though, where's old Maggie Heath, babe?
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back.
I wish this was televised so they can see my reaction to you two.
Every single time, Rob cringes over there in the corner. He's like, gosh, what are Chris and Joe
We're running a professional show here now.
Oh, yeah. Just keep telling yourself that, Rob.
So, Joe, don't try this at home, kids. We are professionals. So you came up and called me up and said, I've got this great person to come on the show today.
Yes.
And it's a life coach.
And she's family.
And I said, how are we going to tie that into real estate? And so you said
Easy,
because we were talking about relationships before you start remodeling things like that. So introduce our next guest, if you
Holy
would,
cow! Well, first of all, we have the life coach Steph here from a Sunday show. Plug your show for us real quick.
Excellent. I have a show here on KKHT, Love and Life Radio with Coach Steph at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
So I get a call from the station. They say, hey, we want to do some cross-promoting. And we would love to mix these two shows and have y'all come on each other's shows and stuff. And she's a life coach. And I started laughing. And I'm like, that's perfect.
I'm glad you felt that way.
Well, it's perfect because of the real estate, right?
Yes.
I mean, we talk about no matter what you do, whether you be buying a home, selling a home, or fixing the home you have,
Coach Steph and I were talking this morning because we were talking about, I actually asked that question of if they're going to do remodeling or build a new house together, what's your relationship like? So now I'm not going to have that conversation. I'm going to say, call Coach Steph.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's true. We were talking about that you'll get in arguments about the tile, but, we know it's not the tile they're arguing about.
It's never about the tile.
Talk about relationships when people are going through stressful times, getting a new roof or having their foundation work done type of things. What type,
I think that most people need to be mindful of the status of their relationship at all times. I think sometimes people get into these really big projects as a fixer-upper. Not only do they want a new house, but maybe they want a new baby, maybe they want a new car. They're putting.
And they'll be happy when they get those items.
Exactly,
right.
And then the relationship is going to sprout and become awesome. And it never was
when
awesome.
When we get to that new house, we'll be happy.
We will be. Yes, we will. We're going to have a mortgage that is 3 times what we pay now, but we will be ecstatic about it. Yes. No, you won't.
Well, one of the principles that has always amazed me in life is that perfectly rational adults will understand the concept of coaches and mentors in all sorts of areas of their lives, yet they'll enter into one of the most foundational, for me, most important relationship they'll ever have walking the planet, and then act insulted if you recommend or encourage them to have some coaching in the area of their relationship.
Right.
It's just amazing to me how it's like, oh, that's offensive. I automatically know how to be a great husband because I'm married.
Right.
We got married, so I'm an expert now.
Exactly. If only that were
would
true.
Really complete your life and make everything perfect and happy for you is if you'd get Kim that new house.
Exactly.
I worked it in.
You worked it in.
I liked it. I like how he wove that. That was really nice.
That's a recurring theme each week. We reach out to Kim.
You can't make it a show without insisting that I get a new house. So. Because the wife wants one.
I got it. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Because if mama's not happy,
ain't nobody happy.
Be clear.
But one of the things we always talk about though is we see it all the time. We see it in the finance section when they come in, they're determining what type of financing they're going to do for a home. We see it when they're building a home. We see it from a real estate perspective, Rob, when agents are out there showing somebody a new home. We see it whenever they're getting major repairs. We see it whenever they want to do a man cave versus a sewing room. Relationships are the key. Your relationship, not only in a relationship with your respective other, but also how you handle relationships with others during that process are extremely important. Because a lot of times what I've always said is the reaction sometimes you get from somebody, and one of the worst things I tell everybody is never read somebody's reaction on how it is on the phone or via email or via text, because it's the most informal and unassuming way to be able to diagnose what that person's truly going through. What are some of your thoughts around that?
Well, you bring up one of my hot buttons, and that is informal communication. Because if we haven't talked and we don't know each other, you don't get the nuances of the quirky little things that I might say to you in an email, even if I put a smiley face on it. So we have to be really mindful of how we communicate and make sure that if it's a major topic, we don't do that over email or over text, because some people have a tendency to get digital courage, and they're just all like, over text. And then you're like, okay, so
I'm feeling that too, digital courage.
Yeah, digital courage, absolutely. So, we want to be authentic and really, as I say all the time, real relationships require real communication. Nothing wrong with a text, nothing wrong with an email, but at some point we have to sit down and talk, and we have to do it in person.
And you get back to what I've always said is one of the things I tell everybody in real estate, the new market that we've got right now is a lot of people are going to that digital courage. Everything is digital, text, email, et cetera, and yet there is nothing that is going to replace any relationship that can be done face-to-face. When you meet somebody face-to-face, you get to know who they are, you put a face to the voice, And you also get to look and see somebody in the eyes and say, is this person an individual I trust during this process? And that is really, really important, whether you be selecting a roofing company, whether you be selecting a builder, whether you be selecting a real estate agent or a lender. I think it's important not to take everything on, guess what, he sounded really good via the email. Sit down and meet with the people.
Absolutely. Force them to have a communication with you that is not on the fly, on a text, adding you in a Facebook. Because you know what? Social media has allowed us to be more connected, but yet more distant. And so we, like Chris said, we just have to sit down and have a conversation and see, is this person legitimately who they've said that they are with this great website, with this great Facebook page, all of that hoo-ha.
And support this or don't support this, but I see people are making decisions on sound bites. We hear, because you're getting about 10 seconds of people's attention online.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why in political arenas and things like that, people are going, oh, this is what it is. And they may draw conclusions because they're filtering it through their knowledge and their past. And that sound bites don't work because you're not getting enough information. Have you seen that when you're talking with people you're counseling and things like that they're making decisions without enough information?
Yes, I see people that are thinking, okay, well, you know what, if this person has not only the sound bites, but if this person has 30,000 likes on Facebook, oh my God, they must know what they're talking about. No, they must have a really good social media strategy, and it's working. And that's how they amassed all of these people. That doesn't mean that they do what they say they're going to do. That doesn't mean that they're trustworthy. It doesn't even mean that they know what they're talking about. It just means that in social media, they took great pictures, they put up some great sound bites, as you said, or some good timeline photos, and people are like, oh my God, they're brilliant. I must have them in my life.
Yes. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So how do you?
And I like that.
I
like that separation.
Host?
Yeah.
I mean, a host. How do you gauge a good coach?
Okay.
I mean, that's. I would imagine a pretty.
Yeah, that's it's like
I didn't lose my train of thought, but that's
right.
a pretty important thing. That's,
I got it though
because
we're here. We're here.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? Coaching is one of those things that it's a word that's kind of a catch-all. I've noticed, kind of like marketing. And, people will say, hey, I'm a coach, and they haven't been through any kind of training. So the best coaches don't talk a lot. If you have somebody in your life that says there's a coach and they're constantly talking, we use what's known as an 80-20 rule. I should talk 20% of the time. The client should talk 80% of the time. If I'm having a conversation with you and I'm telling you what to do, that is not coaching. That's a dialogue, exactly. And then the other thing is coaching is designed to help you pull out the solution you already have within you. So really, I'm more of a midwife. I just tell you when to push. You give birth, it works for me. Hey.
And on that philosophy, my granddad used to always tell me, he said, you're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. What does that mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
You got to listen twice as much as what you talk.
Exactly.
My teachers used to tell me that.
And that's hard when I'm working
They're still telling me that.
With young agents, that's probably the number one thing because people, they want to be telling. I want to tell you. I want to tell you about me. I want to tell you. No, it's all about them. And you got to get really focused. It's not about us. It is about our clients and consumers and things like that, and listen. Period.
Listening is good.
Yeah, listening is really
in
good.
all relationships.
I learn a lot more by listening than I do by talking.
Absolutely.
In fact, you know what? I don't learn anything while I'm talking.
No.
That is true.
So I'll shut up
now. Wow, we finally found a way to make Rob quiet.
Now. This is
He's like, wait a minute. That's not what I meant.
The kettle, So,
I'm messing with you, Rob. You know that.
I know you are. You'll pay for it later.
What are some of the big things from a relationship perspective, though? What are some of the biggest things? If I was ask, what are the top 5 items that you generally see, or generally from a relationship perspective, or maybe the top 5 items that people are going through, or they might see that you might see are causing a relationship issue?
That's a great question. At the firm, we deal with all types of relationships, but usually they are romantic in nature. One of the key things that I see, especially now, people don't want to ask hard questions. They want to assume that, we've been out for 6 months. Oh, we're exclusive. Well, nobody said that. So when you're in the 7th month and somebody calls you and says, hey, don't I see your boyfriend over here at Vic and Anthony's? You're like, oh, wait, I thought we were together. And then the person is like, well, no, we never established that, because no one wants to ask the question, hey, do you want to be in an exclusive relationship with me? Nobody wants to do that. They just want to ask. They want to assume that, if we text every night or if oh my God, we're Facebook official.
I just send a note with a yes/no checkbox.
Yeah, I love that. You know what? Personally, let's get back to that. I've been saying that for months. That's what we need to get back to.
That gives me such warm fuzzies.
I love it. I think that's
not
perfect.
a bad one, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you ask me for 5 things, the reality is the biggest thing, and the other 4 things are probably communication.
Right.
Just not talking it out. Getting married without figuring out if we're on the same page. Do we want kids? Where do we want to live? What religion? Some people don't even know what religion their significant other is. Some people don't even know what job they do. And I'm like, this is insanity. People just don't talk. So the top 5 things I see is 5 issues that begin with people not talking and having authentic, honest communication.
And I would agree right there. I mean, I came from a relationship with my wife right now in which we had a very long courtship. We dated for almost 8 years.
Yes, she still married you.
Yeah, and she still married me. Can you believe it?
Wow.
But I caught her young enough. I caught her young enough. I had to educate her. What it's like to like
beautiful
me.
Women. I don't know how you did it.
But there's nothing wrong with a shorter courtship as well, because I think maturity obviously can do that. But I definitely say is that I grew up in the longer courtship type of things, and as you mentioned, one of the things that we do, we've built multiple homes, sold homes together, bought homes together, improved things. And I'll tell you, communication is key. I mean, whether it be good or bad, I feel this or I feel that. Let your significant other know what you feel and what you want, because if not, that process will not be that.
And I've talked about this before when working
fun.
with the real estate clients, is bringing expectations and realities together. And
Yes.
it's the same kind of thing, because you've got to, people have certain expectations going to relationships or doing business, and it may not be a realistic expectation.
Exactly.
Or you may not be willing to do that.
That's true.
It kind of a bit of a crossover, but I know we have to break coming up here really fast, that communication is so important, and I know that's such a cliche, but you go into a partnership, whether it's business or otherwise in marriage, and everybody kind of has this concept of we're both in this together, we're both pulling 100%, and we're pushing towards the same direction. And it's just kind of an assumed thing, and that is so often not the case. Or, hey, my 100% really may turn out to be like 20%. Of your 100%, so or 0 as you were showing the sign over there. I want to talk about that some more when we come back. I know we got a break. 800-808-5548. Hey, we've got a life coach here, marriage coach. We've got a roofer. We've got a foundation person. We got it all covered today. Just give us a shout. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. Man, time flies when you're having fun. We're down to the last segment of the show this
is
Saturday.
one of my favorite parts, is where everybody gets to
Everyone gets to sort of jump in and have any
things like
conversation they want to right here.
I don't know. We were talking about just before on the way out, from a business standpoint. And I don't. Never mind. That's getting off track there. From a business standpoint, but it translates to relationships. The clearly discussing some of the major things that can come up down the road. And I years ago I heard this quote, and I think this, I probably men, I shouldn't say this. I'm going to bail on us for a second here. Are probably the stem of a lot of the problems in relationships, for a simple reason here. Because I heard this quote: men fall in love with the women they are attracted to, and women become attracted to the men they love. Right? And that's just the way we're wired. We're visual. Well,
Yes,
but what that translates to in relationships, I married her because she was
basically
gorgeous. Turns out later on I liked her.
Hopefully.
That's kind of how we think, or how we're wired. I
Right.
mean, it is what it is, And if we approach relationships like that, or major repairs in the house, if we approach buying a house that way, we don't think through that kind of a concept. Hey, I like the way the man cave looked. It was good for me. Therefore, it was automatically going to be in the house. I just assumed that you were going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I think
we're on the same page.
Brown shag carpet and Coors Coors lamps and moose heads are probably.
Yeah, I always wanted a moose head over the fireplace.
Everybody love that stuff.
And the house is country French. I mean, yeah.
But I was going to ask Troy and John, because we were talking about communication and relationships. Is that I know that people have certain expectations. They're already upset because they're going to have to spend money because that's their worst thing they want to do is, instead of taking that vacation or that cruise, they're now going to buy a new roof or they're going to have to get their foundation fixed. So in communicating with them, do they have, do you find that their expectations are not being met when you're communicating with them because they're just blindly unhappy about this? I mean, talk to me about how you talk to them about spending that money and keeping them happy and setting up those expectations.
Well, and the biggest thing about that, I mean, it's the hardest part about our job is not actually doing the work; it's setting those expectations up front. Once again, I don't really have that much of a part in that anymore. I used to, but my biggest thing about when going into an evaluation is setting the expectation of what's going to happen in the evaluation, then through the repair, then before, during, after the repair, everything. One thing that I found that most customers or clients are the most upset about is if their expectations were not set, because then they set false expectations and nobody can meet those. Well, very rarely.
Yeah, I can put a new roof. I can do the foundation for $3,000, no problem, right?
Well, and a lot of what I see out there, from a finance perspective, it's amazing the way a man thinks when it comes to financing or finances, and the way a woman thinks in regards to finances. And there's a very big difference sometimes. And so we talk about communication. It's important because when you're going through a big repair, when you're going through buying a home, when you're going through making improvements or enhancements, men, as Joe was saying, men are wired differently than ladies. It's a given fact,
I'm
right?
okay with that.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. But there's also leads into very big differences from a financing perspective. One of the things I see the most, right, is half the times I will sit there and talk to individuals about a 15-year fixed mortgage. Ladies are all in for it. And generally speaking, the males are, well, you know what? I don't really want to commit to that. And so generally the conversation is, what do you mean? You don't want to commit to paying it off in 15 years and having a lot of money for everyone else to do afterwards? And the guy's like, well, I really want to free up money today because there are things I want to do today. So it's interesting to see, generally speaking, the ladies, and this was told to me by an individual at a liquor store that I was in a long time ago. He said
not that Chris frequents liquor stores very often.
Exactly.
With the truck's wife.
Yeah, but he said he looked at me. He said, you're the one who earns the money. He said, but your wife is the one who takes care of it. And I will tell you, that's probably true in my case. I mean, my wife is the one who takes care of it. So if it was up to me, I'd probably spend a lot more of it.
And that's a negotiated thing.
My wife and I have a hard and fast rule. What is mine is hers, and what is hers is hers.
I follow that same rule.
I think that's generally a general
that is the
true
exact
statement.
same rule.
Yeah.
But I think it's written in the Bible somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And Troy, you see that when people are, again, they're usually when they're calling you up and it's on an existing home, it's probably because something just happened to their home or they just went through an inspection. How you setting up those expectations and dealing with that emotion that they're working with there?
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of emotion because typically it's a non-budgeted expense. There's a weather event, a storm that has come up, or they're making a transaction buying or selling, and all of a sudden, hey, we have to put a new roof on this house. So, as Stephanie pointed out, you have to work with both partners, make sure that everyone's expectations are met. And Joe stated, hey, you start a relationship with someone because you like them, and then you come to love them later. Well, we work with both parties, and we hope that they'll do their due diligence and look us up online. Check out remedyroofing.com. They'll see great things about our company. We're a Gold Star certificate holder and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So they'll like what they see, and then after we have a chance to come out and meet with them, we hope that they're going to love working with us.
I had an epiphany years ago. I had a client who had switched from one real estate agent to me, and in years after that, he goes, "You know why I chose you?" And I go, "Well, because I was more knowledgeable about the area." And he said, "Absolutely not." He said, "You know what? I felt safe."
Huh.
And that's beginning a huge word for me, which was people want to feel safe about their decisions. And it often comes mixed with trust, but they want to feel safe because and the example he uses is that mid-management had to buy new furniture for the office. So if you choose Case, which is like the predominant name in office furniture, it's a safe choice for people. And to vary from that is an unsafe choice. So the chances are, if they want to keep their job, they're going to go with the safe choice. If you want to keep your spouse, you're going to go with the safe choice. You're going to want. So that was such a huge piece for me to understand that people want to feel safe about their decisions.
Well, Troy gave some good relationship counseling there. Check references.
Absolutely.
Hey, you can tell a lot about what a person's like by the people they associate with and that sort of thing.
Anyone ever shop on eBay? What's the first thing you do if you buy off? You check the ratings.
I have a question for John. I got to ask this question of our roofing expert here, Troy, but John, I didn't get a chance to ask you. I'm guessing that the 8-foot diagonal crack that runs up my wall is not going to be the thing that I wait to see as a determination of foundation issues. So, is there something that I should look for, even from a preventative standpoint, stuff that I should be doing, stuff I should be looking for to avoid having to do the massive, costly repair?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, the best thing you can do is, and you can go to our website at permapier.com, and there's actually a little blurb in there, the 10 most common mistakes homeowners make in regards to keeping their foundation level.
Oh, nice.
This is a pretty neat little tool, little reference.
You need to post that on the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Yeah, I'll put a link up, or I'll hand it off to somebody. I don't know how to do that myself.
Yeah, email it to myself or Brittany, the assistant producer, and we'll get it up on our page.
Okay, yeah, it's some pretty good information. But first and foremost, I mean, once again, going back to soil, I mean, it's not a structural issue; it's a geological issue, and maintaining a consistent moisture content is what's necessary. Ensuring that you don't have any standing water for any prolonged periods of time, making sure that you're irrigating your lot evenly. If you've got any real heavy areas of foliage or big old giant trees that need to get some water on them, I mean, we need to go ahead and do that, making sure that gutters are working and flowing properly. That's going to be the first thing. Now, there's the next level of, maybe not level, but the next thing I see a whole lot of are plumbing issues. If you have drainage issues, sewage issues underneath the home, a lot of times we don't see that. Nobody thinks to go look at the sewage of their house because guess what? It goes down the commode and you never see it again. If you have leaks underneath the home, that can cause a lot of internal movement and a lot of distress, just because once again we're super saturating the soils that are underneath the house. So maybe not necessarily annual, but maybe biannual checks of the drainage lines, and making sure that you're hydrating your lot, and probably be okay for a while.
Awesome, good information. I want to ask the same question to you, our coach over here, relationship coach. I'm sure I don't want to wait for the lawyer's notice and the divorce papers.
Not at all.
For a sign. Is there something that you can, give advice-wise, both husband and wife? I know it's kind of putting you on the spot here, to look for trouble signs, that some things that, I know in Scripture it talks about not letting the sun go down on your anger.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good precursor to, if you're going to bed angry, and that's a usual thing, that's a good sign that there's some issues that need to be dealt with.
Absolutely. And not only that, Joe, it's really about, are we still sharing our life together? Because many times we come together, we're all excited, we had a wedding, our rings match, it's great. But the reality of the situation is that we're not sharing our lives. Maybe we're two ships that pass in the night. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's falling asleep on the couch while she's upstairs, reading, and we don't even talk in the morning. When we get to that point, we need to really begin to notice the cracks, if you will, no pun intended, that are showing in our relationship, because ultimately we're married to have a life together.
I didn't mean to sleep on the sofa, though. I mean, to be honest with you.
You say that, Chris. You know what? Years ago, I was listening to the program Dr. Rainey, and he had a list of things that, some simple things to do as couples. And one of those things was to go to bed at the same time.
Yep.
It's such a simple thing, but you know what? I really kind of stuck in my head, and I'm like, it's a very true thing.
It helps for numerous reasons.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I like those.
And the facial expression was the best of it right there. So, it helps for numerous reasons.
So starting from my far left, Troy, tell me what you'd like people to take away from today's show.
I would just ask that if they have any concerns or questions about their roofs, give us a call at Remedy Roofing. Be happy to come out and, take care of whatever it is they have going on and make recommendations as how to move forward. Thank you.
John, Stephanie?
Oh, well, guys, I would just like to thank you for letting me come on, and you can find me at therelationshipfirm.com, and I invite you to check out my new book, The Business of Dating, at datelikeanmba.com.
John?
I think Troy and I are basically on the same page. I mean, if you have any signs of movement, or if you're just concerned or have any questions, do not hesitate to give us a call. Our office number is area code 713-849-9993. We'll be able to help you with anything, any of your foundation concerns.
You know, it's a great show as usual, and we have a lot of good stuff going on. You can also see Stephanie or listen to Stephanie tomorrow at 4 p.m., which is great. We always have a good time. As we say, until next time, have a great weekend.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is Frank,
I'm
he's
Dean.
Dean, and I'm Sammy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So tune in to the really big show every Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on 100.7 The Word, KKHT.